It's an interesting question. I don't know. You don't necessarily want to say changing of the guard, whatever. I mean, it's the NFL football team coming in here in our home. A team that we haven't had very much success with in the past 4 years since I've been here. Haven't beat them. So, um, obviously with 12 out, there are things different, but at the same time, it's a good NFL football team. AFC East rival coming into our place. So, it's going to be have a handful.
You and you mentioned it. I mean, obviously, we all know what the frustrations have been over the past. You've been part of this team that hasn't beaten the Patriots. What significance would there be to at least make a statement this weekend against a team that has had this franchise's number since going back to 2000?
I believe we'd be 4-0 in the AFC East if we. I think that's. I don't think you got to make this game any bigger than what it is. It's another opportunity, a home game against the New England Patriots. Like you said earlier, a team that we haven't beat in a few years. So we feel like we definitely. We're gonna have a hands full. It's a good football team, but we definitely need to come in with the right mindset, because we definitely feel like we owe them one.
Right. And last thing, how are they different now that Brady's not there? I'm just different. Just how is that offense different as you watch them on tape now?
I think with 12 there, he had a lot of he had the ability to change whatever he saw, to change plays at any moment of the football game. He would use motion a lot to just ID coverages, pre-snap. A lot of the stuff pre-snap, I guess you would say you're not seeing as much with them now than what they did before. So, but at the same time, a quarterback who's been in the league a long time. Obviously, he didn't have the game he wanted to have last week, so we know he's going to come in and try to prove himself again. So, a team that's going to come in and try to run the football. Cam's obviously a factor in the run game. So, like I said, we got a hands full, man.
Thanks, Jordan.
Hey, Jordan, it's John Scott.
Hey, John.
I kind of got a little all over the place with some of these questions here. My first one is, we heard like Trey and Micah and you guys talk last week about searching for an identity and trying to get your groove back defensively. Was Sunday's performance, particularly in the second half, what you needed to push him or push your unit seemingly back on track to the way you guys expected to play?
Yeah, I think, obviously it's something that we can learn from and continue to grow off of. Just understanding that that's who we want to be as a defense. An aggressive, attack-oriented, taking the football away, style defense. And so, we talked about it as a defense, and just understand that's who we want to be, and we want to continue to carry that over into New England.
A bunch of you guys have assumed leadership roles, especially defensively, with like Lorenzo gone and things like that. Leslie Frazier mentioned Jerry Hughes and how he was a calming factor on the sideline on Sunday. How have you seen Jerry evolve as a leader from when you first got here to where we are now?
Yeah, Jerry's always been, a leader in his own way. He's always been vocal to me, a vocal leader, and a guy who's going to show his leadership, not just vocally, but doing what he's supposed to be doing. That's on and off the football field. And so, with a guy like Jerry, who's a playmaker, who can make plays at any moment of the game, his leadership, the way he handled everything on the sideline, getting the guys together, rallying us, and then end up coming and making two huge plays at the end of the game. So he's a guy that, definitely one of the leaders on our football team.
You've heard about the alter ego of Gary before. Have you noticed him find the way to better harness that side of things to where it doesn't necessarily rear his ugly head at times with the personal foul penalties, and he's able to focus that more to making plays like we saw Sunday?
Yeah, when I first got here and I heard about who Gary was, I was a little nervous to see Gary, but then you see Gary on the football field. Yeah, Gary makes some plays now. Gary's out there, he makes some plays now, but at the same time, I think he's been able to kind of harness, that inner self of his to be able to play smart, and be able to still play aggressive and be who he is, but at the same time, play smart.
And finally, I noticed you and a bunch of guys wearing that face mouth shield on the helmet today. Is that something that's a direct response because of what happened with Dawson and the COVID stuff at the end of last week?
Yeah, I believe so.
And was that like a team overall decision, individual? How did that come about?
I think that was a team decision. And I mean, that's all. I'm not really exactly sure of the details, but I definitely believe that was a team decision.
Cool. I just noticed it.
Yeah.
Hadn't seen you guys wear it. Thanks a lot,
Hard
Jordan.
to breathe. It was hard to breathe, then I'll tell you that.
It was.
Yeah.
Is it just for practice, you think? Or?
Yeah, it was just practice. I don't know if I definitely wouldn't be able to wear that again.
All right, cool. Thanks, Jordan.
Yeah.
Yes, good afternoon, Jordan. George Radney, Challenger Community News. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, George. How are you?
Pretty good. Well, you mentioned about wearing the shield. What seems to be the problem with the shield that you think during the game you wouldn't be comfortable wearing it?
It's just extremely hard to breathe in. It's extreme. I mean, I hate swimming. And I give credit to people who can swim because I don't like doing exercises that I have to hold my breath in or I feel like I'm losing breath. That's kind of how it felt. Because your oxygen's coming out and it's really just, especially if you're wearing the visor, your oxygen is just kind of going right into your face. You're not able to kind of get a fresh air. So it's extremely hard to breathe. I didn't necessarily like it, but again, that's precautions that we got to take.
Yeah, and does it fog up as well where it would hinder your vision of seeing?
Yeah, it definitely does. It fogs up and it is tough to see, especially if it's raining.
Oh, yeah. We have a lot of rain around here. So
yeah.
Oh my goodness! Now, do you think coming off of a win off of the Jets going into New England with their passing game not being that great right now, you think you guys will force them to put more in the box there to stop the run and force Cam and them to throw the ball a little more?
Yeah, well, George, like you look at their games that they've won. I believe against Miami and then against the Raiders. Those games that they won, they had over 250 yards rushing. And so you kind of put that together, when they're successful, they're running the ball well. And so, and they are running the ball. Even the games that they lost, they run the ball well. So, in order for us to be successful, obviously we got to be able to stop the run. And that includes, the quarterback as well. Because there's going to be, some quarterback power, quarterback runs that we're going to have to put, an 8.5 man in the box to be able to play, to defend it. So, I think stopping the run is going to be huge for us on Sunday.
Okay, last question for you. Do you think the Cam Newton, just looking at the film, does it look like he's out of sync or something? Because something didn't look right from that game. It just looked kind of not in sync at all.
Yeah, it might have just been some miscommunication, not in sync. Still, he has won the NFL MVP. He has been in the Super Bowl. So you definitely got to respect a guy like Cam Newton, regardless of if he had a tough game the game before. Because I've seen him have a tough game, he come out and throw lights out the next game. So he's a competitor, and you got to respect him.
That's right. You got to be ready. Hey, appreciate your time, Jordan. Good luck this Sunday.
Thank you.
Hey, Jordan, Josh Reed here.
How you doing, Josh?
Well. Good. Hey, just talking to Josh Allen a couple minutes ago, asking him about how game plans kind of change depending on the wind. Obviously, you've played long enough here in Buffalo that you know that it can kick up. It's supposed to be about 50-mile-an-hour gusts on Sunday. How does it change from a defensive back's point of view? He said on an offense, a lot of times DBs will start pressing because they don't think you can go that far down the field. Mm-hmm. From your perspective on the other side of the ball, when it's windy like that, how does that change the way you do things a little bit?
Yeah, obviously it depends on which direction the wind's blowing, but if you got the wind in your face, so the wind's blowing at you, obviously they're able to still throw the football. So you got to be a little bit more cautious. And those are probably going to be the times when the shots are going to come. Because obviously after the quarter you switch sides, and so just having awareness. And obviously if the wind's against you, you can play a little bit more aggressive because they're not going to be able to push the ball vertically down the football field. So. That's another part of the game within the game. I think the coaches will probably have more of effect on, how they call the game based off of, the win. But us as players, just understanding, certain situations of the game. Hey, they got the win with them. It's second and short. Hey, they might try to take a shot right here. Just be aware. stuff like that.